Strait of Hormuz, a narrow stretch of water between Iran and Oman, has long been considered the jugular vein of the global economy. 1/5 of the world's oil consumption flows through this passage every single day. However, in the opening weeks of April 2026, the world witnessed a terrifying silence. The strait was effectively closed. Reports of Iran deploying massive minefields forced the world's largest shipping companies to halt operations, driving gas prices in the US and Europe to record highs. But on Saturday, the 11th of April 2026, that silence was shattered by a shocking announcement on Truth Social. President Donald Trump announced that the United States military had begun the process of clearing out the Strait of Hormuz. These were not just idle threats. He confirmed that all 28 of Iran's mine-laying ships were now sitting at the bottom of the sea. This was more than a political statement. It was the confirmation of a swift and devastating military campaign. Shortly after, reports from the scene showed a fleet of U.S. Navy warships openly transiting the strait, directly challenging any Iranian attempt at a blockade. This marked the beginning of a new order, where American steel met Iran's asymmetric naval guerrilla tactics head-on. To clear a waterway infested with sea mines and asymmetric threats, the U.S. Navy relies not just on the size of its fleet, but on highly sophisticated, specialized hardware. In this campaign, the presence of Arleigh Burke-class destroyers served as the primary air and missile defense shield. Equipped with the advanced Aegis combat system, these ships can track and neutralize waves of Iranian cruise missiles and kamikaze drones before they ever get close to the fleet. However, the main characters in reopening the strait were the Avenger-class mine, countermeasures, ships, and, more importantly, unmanned underwater vehicles, UUVs. The Avenger-class ships utilize a wooden hull sheathed in fiberglass to minimize their magnetic signature, preventing the accidental detonation of magnetic mines. Meanwhile, underwater drones use high-resolution side-scan sonar to pinpoint the exact location of every mine hidden on the seafloor. Military analysts suggest that sinking Iran's 28 mine-laying vessels was a strategic decapitation strike. Without the means to deploy new mines, Iran lost its ability to maintain the blockade, transforming the strait from a death trap back into an open lane for the U.S. fleet. Let's place this analysis into a high-stakes, hypothetical scenario occurring that very Saturday morning. A U.S. Special Task Force, led by a Ford-class aircraft carrier, approaches the eastern gateway of the strait. Iran, despite losing its mine layers, still possesses coastal missile brigades and hundreds of armed fast-attack craft. Radar on a U.S. destroyer suddenly detects a massive launch of cruise missiles from the cliffs along the Iranian coast. Instead of retreating, the U.S. fleet activates its multi-layered defense network. SM-6 missiles intercept targets at long range, while Phalanx CIWS and shipboard lasers neutralize threats in the terminal phase. Simultaneously, armed drones launch from the carrier, striking enemy missile sites based on real-time intelligence. During these 12 hours, the U.S. doesn't just defend, it conducts proactive defense. They neutralize Iranian coastal surveillance radars, leaving Tehran's military completely blind to the fleet's movements. As mine-clearing vessels finalize a safe corridor 5 nautical miles wide, the first massive supertankers begin to transit Hormuz under the fleet's protection. This serves as proof. Once the U.S. decides to use overwhelming power to protect economic interests, any attempt at a blockade via maritime guerrilla tactics is crushed within hours. Even before the wreckage of the Iranian mine layers had fully settled on the seafloor, a strange development occurred. Representatives from both sides sat down at the negotiating table in Islamabad, Pakistan. This is the hallmark of the maximum pressure tactic. The U.S. didn't wait to negotiate before acting. They acted first to create a new reality on the ground, forcing Iran to negotiate from a position of weakness. Reopening the Strait of Hormuz didn't just lower gas prices at home. It sent a definitive message to the world. Freedom of navigation is non-negotiable. The clearing of the strait demonstrates the future of maritime control. It is no longer about long-range cannon duels between massive ships, but the coordination of satellite intelligence, missile interception, and unmanned mine-clearing technology. In the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. proved it is willing to write the check for the most expensive military operations as long as it ensures the flow of energy and power remains uninterrupted. The world may breathe a sigh of relief as the oil flows again, but the Middle East has entered a new chapter, one where military might is used as the master key to unlock any geopolitical deadlock.